The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want their weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
This is You Will Never Listen to Music the Same After This Video, Part 2. I'm going to leave the warning out of this. If you haven't seen Part 1, go watch Part 1 and then move on to Part 2. I think it's imperative that people understand the body of evidence and not just watching one video. I've had an unusual amount of messages after this came out trying to talk me out of this type of research. It's kind of weird, and they were really aggressive, and I found that funny. I said this a long time ago, but all of this subliminal speech, what people hear in fans, like in real life situations, in fans, air conditioners, anything that makes noise, water, running water, vacuum cleaners, anything that makes noise is a form of sine wave speech. People don't seem to think that is real, but it's something that has existed for, 50 years. I'll have people say, you're just pointing out tones, these sound like, dolphins or whales or, whatever. But they really are voices. I can hear these things right off the bat. Now I'm going to show you something that's on actual sine wave speech, and it's only a couple minutes long. I want you to check it out, because what this is going to do is this is going to teach you how to hear it. It really is, because when you listen back to it, you really are going to hear it, even people that can't normally hear this stuff. So let's go forward and check this out, and then I'll move on. It's really important.
Sine wave speech, or sine wave synthesis, is a psychoacoustic demonstration and analysis technique that was developed by the experimental psychologist Philip Rubin of Haskins Laboratories in the early 1970s, then further explored, notably by his colleague, Robert Ringmas. The technique involves synthesizing artificial, computer-generated replicas of human speech by analyzing the audio spectrum and tracking the major energy bands inside real speech recordings, then creating usually 2 or 3 pure sine wave signals that follow the rhythmic contours of those original energy bands. Listen to the following sine wave speech sequence, then decide what meaning, if any, you think you can discern.
In psychic research, the emotional distance between the researcher and his subject is inevitably diminished until it is no more than the distance between any two persons. The acquiescence of the subject to the demands of the researcher becomes nothing more nor less than an individual act of faith, of love. If there can be no love between researcher and subject, there can be no experimentation.
Now listen to the original recording from which the sine wave speech you just heard was manufactured, as follows.
In psychic research, the emotional distance between the researcher and his subject is inevitably diminished until it is no more than the distance between any two persons. The acquiescence of the subject to the demands of the researcher becomes nothing more nor less than an individual act of faith, of love. If there can be no love between researcher and subject, there can be no experimentation.
Finally, listen to the sine wave speech sequence again.
In psychic research, the emotional distance between the researcher and his subject is inevitably diminished until it is no more than the distance between any two persons. The acquiescence of the subject to the demands of the researcher becomes nothing more nor less than an individual act of faith, of love. If there can be no love between researcher and subject, there can be no experimentation.
Now, isn't that funny? I could hear that. The first time I heard it, I could hear everything word for word. It was easy for me. But for some people, it isn't. And, it's funny because people have said to me, left comments saying, you are leading people along by telling people what it says. But you see, in that experiment, after you heard what it said and then you re-listened, you could absolutely tell what it was saying. So you need that. If somebody else can hear what it says the first time and then tell you what it says and then play it back to you, you can understand what is being said. It's scientific, not leading you along. If I was just making up goop and selling it back to you, it would be completely different. Now, part 1 was about me finding audio in Nirvana. This is a little bit different because people left me comments saying you should check out Christian music. So that's what I did. But what I did was I kind of went for the Christian rock, and I decided to look up, Christian rock and found like the best Christian rock songs of all time or whatever, because I don't own any, right? And I grabbed one song. I'm not going to tell you who it is yet, but it's, heavy Christian rock. And I wanted to see if there were subliminals in this music. And there are 100%. 100%. And these are pretty crazy. And they use a lot of sine wave speech in these tracks. A lot. And we're going to go through it. So buckle up. Here we go. This is the audio of the sound I picked. And I will reveal the band and the song, but not till later. Here is the keyboards intro. It's like this journey-ish intro. And before it kicks in, that's really what it sounds like. It sounds like heavy journey. The build-up keyboard intro goes through here. And then it kicks in right here. And then when it kicks in, the guitar kicks in and it carries a voice that changes from sine wave speech to sounding very real because guitars are noisy, and that creates the frequencies for a more human-ish voice to ride on. And it's beat synced. Just like the first one, it is beat synced to the beats. And the thing is, with the keyboard, there is a lot of notes hitting, so there's a lot of opportunity for syllables to be popped in there by Nimbus or whatever mastering system is putting these subliminals into the music. But they are there. They came together like a puzzle. It's like picking a lock. It's like picking a tumbler lock. When you get all those tumblers together, it lines right up and you can begin to really hear it. Now what you're going to hear are some low voices, some high voices, all different sine wave speech. And I will play you slower versions, but I can't slow them down on here because it will mess up the timing when I compare it to the music and show that it's locked in time. So we'll start off with the first one. And the first voice that really pops up says, it's very low tone, and it says, I knew you'd leave. I knew you'd leave. And then there's this whimpering behind it. It's very, very negative. So it says, I knew you'd leave. And then this is where it really gets kicking in. The first one is really the worst. So then it says here, it says, might as well be dead. Now let me play you a slowed down version. Might as well be dead. Might as well be dead. And then it moves on to here. It says, I will die off, in a really whimpery, crying tone. And then there's another voice at the end, so don't get that confused. A male voice saying something else. But that's at the end of off. Die off. So I will die off. So we have, I knew you'd leave. Might as well be dead. I will die off. And then it says, nobody loves you. And in here, at the you, it has me underneath. So it says, nobody loves me and nobody loves you at the same time. I'm going to loop it. Isn't that nuts? Nobody loves you. And then it says nobody loves me at the same time. Both words are underneath this. Now let me show you a slowed down version of that. Okay, here we go. Nobody loves you. Really, really wicked stuff. Suck this video down and take the audio. So, we have, I knew you'd leave. Might as well be dead. I will die off. Nobody loves you, and nobody loves me at the same time. Then, this is where it changes a little bit. Now, this one is really tricky, and it's very strange. So let's listen to it. What that says there is religion. Now I'll show you a slowed down version. It says religion, and then here it says is divisive. Is divisive. Is divisive. So it says religion is divisive. Let me play you a slowed down version of that. Here is religion is divisive slowed down. It's religion, because these are playing to a beat. You have to realize that these voices aren't normal inflection. They're not going to sound humanish. They're going to be set to the beat of the music. It's not going to be quite human. So it says religion is divisive. Divisive is divisive. So religion is divisive. In a Christian rock song, I don't really believe in organized religion, but I have always understood and recognized that there has been a war on Christianity. I can recognize that, and I understand that this would be the most targeted group as far as this type of subliminal programming in music. And I knew it would be negative if I found it. There are no positive affirmations that I've ever pulled out of audio. Okay, this is right before the song kicks in, okay? Right before. And what it says here is, it says, don't receive the message. Don't receive the message. Don't receive the message. I will loop receive the message. Receive the message. This is just another form of sine wave speech. Don't receive the message. Now here is where the song kicks in. I mean, it like, busts in, hard rock style, head banging. And the first line is this. It's a female voice. It says, I want to die. Now this is where it starts to sound human. I want to die. I want to die in a Christian rock song. Can you believe that? These are totally messed up. And when I sync this up to the music, you can actually hear some of these better when it's with the music, because it's made to intermingle in those frequencies. Now there's a voice underneath it, a male voice, but you need to focus on the low female voice. I want to die. It's ghostly almost. It's absolutely insane. But now I'm not that surprised anymore. Now right there, right after it says I want to die, it says really quickly, I'll miss you. I'll miss you. Now let me play you a slowed down version of that. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. I'll miss you. It's almost sing-songy, but it's monotone. Okay, moving on from I'll miss you. Now, this is where it gets really crazy, because this is where it gets like Ozzy Osbourne, ask what he got blamed for. And it wasn't the artists. It had nothing to do with the artists. It was the record company and the actual production that was causing these subliminals, not the artists at all. At all. So what it says there is, I'm going to play you a slower version of this. Quickly, it says, Satan is around you. Now, Christians do believe that Satan is around you, but is it fair to put subliminal affirmations in music? Is that fair? Can you trust that? I don't think you can. Let me show you a few slower versions. Here's the first version of Satan is around you. So it says, Satan is around you. Satan is around you. Here's a second version. Satan is around you. Satan is around you. Here is the third version, which is the same as the original, just slowed down and not tweaked frequency-wise. So Satan is around you. Pretty crazy. Now this one's a really, really weird one. It goes really fast to the beat, almost double time. So let me play it for you a couple times, and then I'm going to play you the slower version. Okay, let's check out the slower version. What it says is, it's very strange and it's a very weird affirmation. It says, if you make the money, it's rock solid. If you make the money, it's rock solid. If you make the money, then it's rock solid. It's a very weird one. If you make the money, it's rock solid. Now this is the last part. It goes right along with the drum beat of the song. It says, I will let him take your soul. I will let him take your soul. It's following the drums. You'll hear it. I will let him take your soul. Let me show you a slowed down version of that. Okay, here it is slowed down. I will. And then let him. Or let him. Take your soul. I will let him take your soul. This is sine wave speech that is being hidden into this music as a subliminal influence over the music. It's very hard to pull out. Watch part 1. I explain it and get into it a little bit more. And it's funny because people think that Christian rock is safe. I will let him take your soul. So these people can be making this music with the best of intentions, and then the people mastering it, the final master, not the master that is done in the studio. What you have is you have the engineers and people who set up to do the recording, right? So you record it, then you mix it, and then after you mix it, you master it and push the levels up, and then it should be done. But these companies do this mastering afterwards, and that's where I believe all these subliminals and affirmations are put into the music afterwards. And that's what's going on. So you have I knew you'd leave, and then it says might as well be dead. I will die off. Nobody loves you and nobody loves me in the same line. Me and you is overlapped over each other. Religion is divisive. Don't receive the message. And then it kicks in and it says, I want to die. And then it says, I'll miss you. And then Satan is watching. If you make the money, it's rock solid. Satan wants you. And then I will let him take your soul. Now, are you ready for the reveal? I'm going to play you the music, and some of this you can actually hear better when it is interacting with the frequencies of the song. I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to tell you who it is. Okay, listen to that. It goes right with the drums. I will let him take your soul. This is Nightwish, the Christian band Nightwish, with their song Amaranth. And it's not their fault, so don't go blaming them and yelling at them and calling them Satanists or whatever. It's the record company that did this, not the artist. And if they ever saw this, they would probably be pretty freaked out, pretty shocked. But when money's involved, money makes people do crazy things, so they may ignore it. So the keyboards start Journey style, and then it says, I knew you'd leave. But what we couldn't hear in just the audio is this part as well. A high-pitched, whiny voice that almost sounds like it's crying says, it is over. And then it says, might as well be dead. I will die off. Nobody loves you. Nobody loves me. It interacts with the frequencies of the song. So it says, right before the song kicks in, it says, don't believe the message. And then when it kicks in, the female voice says, I want to die. So Satan is watching. You make the money, it's rock solid. Satan wants you. And then I will let him take your soul. So there's no lyrics through this whole section. Nobody can say, I'm bending the voice, I'm doing something. I'll play it by itself. Mannheim Steamroller. It is. It's like heavy metal Mannheim Steelhorn. They'd be pretty mad if they heard that, I bet. But it does sound like that. And Journey. Like heavy metal Journey. But there you go. There are subliminals in this. 100%. Might As Well Be Dead is one of the craziest ones, as well as Nobody Loves You, Nobody Loves Me. And then I Will Let Him Take Your Soul. Sync to the drums. Let me boost it up a little bit and then play it with the drums one more time, because it's pretty crazy. Now let's listen to the drums by themselves. And somebody asked a good question in my last video in the comment section. They said, how do you know this isn't what you have shown before that is in the real world that is hopping on noises and riding on it, the parasitic signal? And the reason why is because the parasitic signal hops on everything, but there is a slight delay, just a very slight delay, and it takes a split second to jump on, where this stuff is beat locked. It is synced. It is deadlocked to the beat, and it's not parasitically jumping up and riding on it. It is programmed into the music. These are subliminals. These are there. Nightwish, with their song Amaranth, is full of subliminal messages, and you can take that to the bank. And for scientific purposes, the official page with the song on it has 114,647,179 views. So think about that. These record company people and industry people are going to have a brand new hatred for me. Look out for Charlie.